Hello, I'm Catherine Sines, the president of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary is a professional organization of a group of men and women who support Rotary International. We also join together by a common interest of service to our Hudson community, and we have a sincere desire to give back. We meet weekly on Wednesdays at Laurel Lake Retirement Community, 200 Laurel Lake Drive, in their dining room. We meet from 7:30 to 8:30 and would like to invite you to join us. For more information about Rotary, go to www.rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the following excerpts from one of our recent meetings and consider joining us on Wednesday morning.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Good morning, Ron.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Liz Ramsey.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Liz.
Please bow. Let us pray that we may live a life worthy of our God, pleasing Him in every way, growing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power, having endurance, patience, and love, with thanks to the God of the Old Testament, and in Jesus' name, our Lord and God of the New Testament. Amen.
Amen. To lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Ralph Day.
Morning.
Good morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test. 1,
Is the truth.
2,
Is fair to all concerned.
3,
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
4.
Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, Ralph. And now to lead us in song, Chris Barker.
Yay. Oh, no, that's good. Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Good morning, Chris.
Today we're going to sing America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies,
Forever waves of grain,
for purple mountains, majesty,
above the fruited plain. America, America,
God shed His grace on thee,
and crown thy good with brotherhood,
from sea
to shining sea. All right.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
And now our president, Catherine Sines.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning.
Next, we have Chris Barker to introduce our guest.
Again. Good morning again. Okay, I'm happy to say we have our Hudson Service Learning class group in the back there joining us. We have Lonnie Banner and Marty Bach, teachers, and then we have Alyssa Hitchcock, who's been helping us all month on AV. Thank you for that. And we have Liz Fry. And then we have returning hopeful future Rotarians, Greg Box and Bill Benoit. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. First, I'd like to thank whoever put this carpet here. They know what a klutz I am, so that we don't have to thank you, whoever did that. And before we start that, we just have a couple announcements. Before we do that, I'd like to encourage everybody, if you could, send Dick Pearsall a letter of encouragement. Today, I'll send out his address. He's not checking email, so if you could just send a regular card, snail mail, and just something of encouragement. You know, if you want an update, Doug McDowell or Mike Swain can give you an update. They've been helping get people to the
Catherine, can we visit him, or is he?
No, I think you can visit him, right, guys? Yes. They can give you an update. They've been helping his wife to get to the hospital, and they said he really could use some words of encouragement from all of us. So if you would do that, it'd be nice. Next, we have an update on the fall fundraiser.
Now, I have good news. I'm not going to be asking for anything. Fall fundraiser update. Well, the first thing I want to do is to thank Jimmy Ahern. Jimmy, are you out there? That's the chairman of our team captains. And without the Grape Crushers and the Tars and the Big Macs and the Pickle Farm Clint and the Radical Rascals, we couldn't make this happen. And, of course, with all of our Rotarians. Now, it's kind of apropos that we have our service learning group here today, because they really hit it out of the ballpark. They bought 199 cans of caramel corn, I believe it was, and Dennis liked them. And they also bought 15 dozen of roses. So they understand the 4-way test. So you're probably saying, will he just shut up and tell us? Well, we had, since 2008, this year was the second highest net total. And so this has been certified by our treasurer, Mr. McDowell, for the foundation. We put $6,788 to the good people to help out with scholarships. Thank you very much.
Speaking of service learning, if you'd like to come up, this is one of the highlights always to me, is to meet the service learning group that we sponsor. You all know we sponsor service learning, and they come in and help us out, and we help them out with projects they do too. So, Lonnie, would you like to say?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So happy to see all of you today. Hope you had a wonderful new year. We right now are in the process of beginning to interview starting next week, next year's class for service learning. So we are heading into another year, and we also just started working on our Appalachian Service Project. We are going to be running about 30 different agencies in Southern Ohio, everything from working on an off-the-grid farm to delivering Meals on Wheels, down in Adams and Brown County. So we are really excited about this coming up in the next couple of months. And I have two fantastic young ladies here to talk to you today about their service. We have the beautiful Alyssa and the beautiful Liz, and they're going to tell you about themselves. So ladies, it's all you. Absolutely.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Alyssa. I'm Alyssa Hitchcock. So I'm going to talk about my previous site from last semester. So I was actually here at Laurel Lake in the activities department, and as I'm sure you all know, how amazing the amenities are here. But I really learned a lot, and what I took away from it was that I want to have enough experiences in my life that I can inspire or change somebody else, because I know a lot of the residents here with from living on the East Coast on an oyster, like fishing for oysters every day. Like, that was one of the stories that I learned. So I would like to have some experiences to share and change somebody else's life and inspire them to do something like that. My favorite memory was when we went over to the little pond over there. It has like a really nice gazebo, if you will. And we roasted hot dogs, and it was like a little picnic, and it was right next to the pond, and there was like a blue heron. It was really cute. And I plan to attend either OSU or OU for college and study either nursing or business. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz. I actually work here at Laurel Lake, so it's odd to be back sitting and eating the food instead of serving it. So I was at Summit County Prosecutor's Office last semester. This semester I'm at Streetsboro Head Start, which has been a really different experience from last semester, going from a business site to a preschool. So even though I've only been there 2 days, like maybe 6 hours total, it's been such an experience so far, just to learn an experience that not everybody has what we have, and it just makes you look at your own life at the big picture, you know, and say, I'm so lucky, I have all this stuff, and because I am privileged and have all this stuff, it's my job to help out other people that don't. So working with these kids is just amazing. They're so full of joy and laughter, and I get to go back right after this, so I'm like really excited. And my favorite memory so far there, during quiet time, I got this little girl, she's probably 4 years old, her name is Sienna. I got her to go to sleep in less than 10 minutes, so that was an accomplishment for me. I plan on going to The Ohio State University in the exploratory program, so hopefully I'll figure out some more about what I want to do once I'm there. And yep.
Hey, Liz, there's a great similarity. There's a great similarity between the group you're with now and these people here. They're full of joy and laughter, and they'll go to sleep in 10 minutes.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do have one question. I remember several years ago we had one of your predecessors, I think, with the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, and it didn't sound like it was it sounded pretty rough. Could you comment on that?
It's a lot to get used to, you know, like coming from Hudson especially, and like just going to school and then suddenly going to downtown Akron and being in court and like hearing all this stuff. It's a lot, but it was very interesting. It was like just to see it, because all you might know about that whole system is from like Law and Order and stuff, and like seeing it is a lot different, and just that such a system exists is like, I don't know, just to think about it, be like, wow, this is really interesting. And just getting to talk to victims advocates and stuff is something that you don't see a lot. It's kind of behind the scenes, so that's something that was really cool to see. And there's a dog there, so that was the highlight of my week, getting to see that dog. But yeah, it was like, it's not always pleasant, but it was a really great experience. Yep.
Any other questions, friends? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if I've shared this before, but 2 years ago when I went to Columbus to speak on school finance, I went before the committee, the finance committee, and I said I was from Hudson Schools, and the senator from Brown County said, I know Hudson Schools, your service learning group comes here. And I mean, in Columbus, they knew our service learning group and what good things. They did a senior prom or something in Brown County, and they all knew about it. So they do great things. They reach out even further than Hudson, which is awesome. Next, our speaker, Dave Basil, will introduce our speaker.
Thank you, President Catherine. Our speaker today is Drew Forehand, and I am honored to be able to introduce Drew. Drew obtained his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration in 1981 from Bowling Green State University, and in 1988 founded Fortech Medical. Fortech was created on the belief that hospitals, surgical centers, medical offices, and patients would benefit from mobilization technology and highly trained technicians on an as-needed basis. In 1981, Drew began his career working as marketing manager at American Hospital Supply, and after American Hospital Supply, he went on to work at Surgical Stapling Products as a marketing manager. That business was sold to 3M, and then he joined Richard Allen Medical, where he became a director of sales and marketing. After 2 years at Allen Medical, he moved back to Northeast Ohio and again began Fortech Medical in 1988. At Fortech, Drew focuses on growth strategy, business development, and strategic acquisitions. Fortec recently celebrated its 30th anniversary in existence, opened its 26th office, and most notably for Hudson, moved its headquarters home to our fine community. Drew is a resident of Hudson. He enjoys golf, flying, and fishing. Boy, I wish I could fly. He and his wife Nancy reside in Hudson with their 4 children. He is on the Hudson Community Foundation. He is chairman of that organization. He is on the executive board for Old Trail School, Ronald McDonald House, Cleveland Bluecoats, and Western Reserve Academy. He has been recognized as an Entrepreneur Edge 2006, an ENY Entrepreneur Award winner for Northeast Ohio in 2013. Please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to our speaker, Drew Forehand.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. It's great to be here. Can everybody hear me? Because my voice does not carry too well. We're good? Great. You know, it's kind of funny. I came in this morning and walked in the up the parking lot, and I realized that Laurel Lake has a part of Fortec's history in it. And let me share that with you. So, as David said, I went to Bowling Green State University, worked for American Hospital Supply, Richard Allen Medical, and decided to start a business and come back to Hudson, or come back to Northeast Ohio. We were looking for a place to live and needed to rent a place specific to the business that I was going to start, and ended up down here in Hudson. And at the time, Laurel Lake was just being built. So Nancy and I drove in here and thought, this is perfect. This will be absolutely perfect. We were moving from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and lived in a development that looked very similar to this. Well, so we came in here and checked out with the person that was in charge of sales. I said, we're interested, and she said, well, is this for your mom and dad? And I said, no, it's for us. Quickly realized this is not the place that we needed to spend our first days at in Hudson. So we ended up on Ravenna Street, on 249 Ravenna Street. We started there and rented a duplex from Jack Rude. So I'll share with you a little bit more about that in a second. But Fortec Medical. What's our mission? It's to improve patient health and health care by delivering innovative surgical technologies on demand. Our core values: integrity, commitment to excellence, and a positive culture. Oopsie. I'll let you do that. So again, founded in 1988 over on Ravenna Street. And we started in ophthalmology. That was our first surgical technology that we introduced to the healthcare field. Before I get into the rest of this, we're moving our offices this Saturday over to Hudson. We're in Streetsboro currently. This has given me an occasion to clean out my drawers that I haven't done in years. And I was going through one of them, and I found the original business plan for Fortec Medical that was written in August of 1988. Our first specialty was ophthalmology. Let me just read to you a little bit. This was a business plan that I put together for the bank because I needed to borrow some money. It says, Fortec Medical was developed to serve a growing need in the ophthalmology community for convenient access to surgical laser equipment. The use of YAG lasers for ophthalmology. Pardon me? The use of YAG lasers for ophthalmology surgery has increased significantly in the past 3 to 4 years. Common procedures include posterior capsulotomies. It creates an opening in the eye's posterior chamber to allow proper amount of light into the back of the retina, achieving proper vision. 40% of patients that have cataract surgery eventually will need this procedure. Iridotomies are the other one for glaucoma. And again, the use of the laser permits proper vision through the decrease in flow or pressure in the eye. Until recently, ophthalmologists have had 2 alternatives: acquiring the laser equipment or leasing them. And the expense of the lasers was from $45,000 to $90,000. And if they didn't own them, they went to the hospital and scheduled their cases there. Each alternative has a disadvantage: cost and inconvenience. It's to the hospital's advantage to own the YAG laser in order to receive the revenue benefits from the procedure performed. Although it is a large capital investment, Fortec Medical was formed to service the needs of independent ophthalmologists without the patient load or means to purchase the laser, and small hospitals desiring the benefits of the laser procedure without purchasing the laser. That's how we started. We started by supplying community hospitals with laser technology that didn't have access to it. It didn't make sense for them to own it, and the technology got to the point where it was solid state that you could mobilize it. Up until that point in time, it was very difficult to mobilize lasers and have them aligned by the time they got to the hospital. So that's where Fortec started in ophthalmology. We spent 2 years in ophthalmology, and then other specialties started to use laser technologies routinely for their surgeries, and community hospitals began to ask us for other technologies. Thus, Fortec expanded from ophthalmology into every specialty, first lasers and then all types of other technologies. Today we serve over 4,700 surgeons annually, with 20 different medical technology platforms, not just lasers, but ultrasound, cryotherapy, various technologies that are expensive that hospitals need and can be used on an as-needed basis. When this was done, we had 350 employees. I think we're close to 400, and we do over 65,000 procedures a year. Click. So now we have 40 service centers. I think when David read that, it was 25. We keep growing. Most of these were organic growth. We started in Cleveland, Ohio, went to Cincinnati, Chicago, DC, and continued to expand. Each of those offices covers about a 3 to 4 hour radius. And some of these offices that we have today were through acquisitions. We've acquired companies in DC, Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago. Thank you. But the rest of those offices are organically grown, and the 2 newest ones are up in the Northwest. We have now, we service Seattle and Portland as of the 4th quarter of last year. You can see our Cleveland headquarters was in Streetsboro, is until this Friday, and as of Monday, we will be over here on in Hudson Crossings. Oh, good. Here are some of the specialties we deal with. We do a lot in urology, a lot in ophthalmology, a lot in ENT and GYN, in addition to interventional radiology, neurology, aesthetics, and these are different platforms. That happens to be a laser for ophthalmology. These are ophthalmology, urology lasers. This is what's called extracorporeal shockwave therapy for kidney stone treatments. We do that quite a bit around the country. This is a navigation device. This is cryotherapy. Lots of different technologies. Again, that the hospitals need, it's expensive technologies. They need trained people to run them, and that's as much as anything a difficulty for hospitals. Staffing changes. You just can't put anyone on this equipment. They have to be certified to run it. So our technicians do that 24/7. Here's a little video about where this business has gone. As I said, we started in ophthalmology, and we cover just about any specialty. The question gets asked quite a bit, don't hospitals own lasers? They do own them, but this one source concept that we've developed has really caught on, and hospitals are using us more and more in this fashion.
If your hospital is like others across the country, the changes and challenges of managing surgical technology equipment can be a daunting task. Are you buying the equipment? There's a good chance that you're facing one or more of these issues. The rising cost of purchasing and maintenance, upgrading your equipment to the latest technology, underutilization of equipment compared to projected volume, or the added time and money spent on staffing and training. Renting the equipment can have its disadvantages as well, such as credentialing multiple vendors and technicians who may be unfamiliar with your staff, facility, and policies, or unpredictable response times and availability of needed equipment. You might also have to deal with higher pricing because your volume isn't consolidated with one vendor. Perhaps it's time for you to consider a smart surgical technology outsourcing solution. One solution, one source, from Fortech Medical, one trusted provider for all your surgical technology needs. We'll provide your team with a personally assigned primary technician who intimately knows your needs to alleviate staffing, credentialing, and training headaches. Give them access to the most innovative equipment in the business. Keep highly utilized equipment on site to allow for add-on cases or schedule changes, and potentially operate and manage the equipment you already own. Being a one-source partner also gives you access to the Laser Education Portal, a valuable training resource that's accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with content for beginners, tenured staff, and program managers. The Laser Education Portal contains verified examinations that will earn staff certificates of competence and continuing education units, with content that meets both Joint Commission guidelines and ANSI standards. It keeps up-to-date and comprehensive documentation, streamlining any audits of your laser program. It's one partnership with Fortech Medical, all in one easy-to-manage, affordable package. And it's one great way to save you time, money, and stress, making your life easier, offering your surgeons and patients the most innovative technology and equipment available, and delivering the operational efficiency your facility needs. We can help take the daunting out of surgical technology management with one solution from one source, a Fortech Medical Partnership Program. Want to try it out? You can get started today with a risk-free trial to see if one source is the solution for you. You'll get a dedicated technician and all of the benefits with no obligations for 90 days. Let's start the conversation today and see what one source can do for your facility.
This has been a very successful program for us, and this little video kind of helps a hospital understand exactly what we do and what we can do for them. We offer lots of different technology. I want to talk to one specifically. As I said, we started in 1988 in ophthalmology, and really like that specialty. There are just incredible innovations that have gone on in that specialty with technology and specifically lasers. More recently, there's been a laser that's been developed for cataract surgery. Oftentimes people thought in the past with the first laser that I introduced that was for cataracts. It wasn't. It was for post-cataract surgery. But they've developed over the past 10 years an innovative technology for cataract surgery, and I'd like to share that with you. It's one of the neat technologies that we're just beginning to offer.
If you could easily leverage a mobile option to access the best cataract laser, providing immediate value to you and your practice, giving patients better options, which they're asking for, by the way, and with no financial commitment, what's holding you back? But let's hear about it from other surgeons.
Thus far, I've had excellent results. I've been using the laser for almost 2 years now. I literally have not had a single complication using the laser.
So again, there's a huge wow factor here. The patient has seen so much better. Count fingers to better than 20/30 on day one. It's huge.
I think there's this familiarity with the company and their support staff and the technical staff that made it much easier in terms of why I kind of chose number 1 mobile laser, 2 Callus, and then 3 with Fortech.
I guess if people ask me about it, I say that really it's not a difficult learning curve. If anything, in some ways it makes the procedure easier.
My techs always can guess how well they read the chart. They can say, okay, you must have had the laser.
When I rented from Fortech, the rental unit comes with a technician attached to it, and the technicians have been great.
Makes my life easier, decrease the stress level, and I think it makes things go much smoother.
From the beginning, they've been excellent. They've provided great lasers and great technicians and even great support from sales staff.
In fact, we joked about with some patients that we're going to put them, the advertising. We haven't done that yet, but we may.
It's not difficult to begin laser cataract surgery with mobile Catalyst. You don't have an initial capital outlay or annual maintenance costs. You don't have to think about upgrades. They're covered. Practice development support will get you going quickly and assist in continual improvement. And every surgery day, you will have assistance from an experienced 4-tech technician.
Join the Catalyst movement.
Join the Catalyst movement.
Let's join the Catalyst movement.
So this is one of our newest technologies, and as I say, it's an incredible technology, but each of those units costs about $500,000. So the physicians themselves want access to the technology, but that's a pretty steep price to pay. I know there's one person in this room, at least, that's had this laser on them, Jim Lang. He's experienced the Catalyst laser. It is an incredible technology, and it scans your eye. It says if you have an astigmatism, it'll correct for that. It does a capsulotomy, and it gets you ready for the lens implant automatically. You know, it's just an incredible piece of laser technology that's been in development for a number of years, and we're offering it. It's a mobile technology. So we provide technology, but we're a logistics company as much as anything, and we have an incredible uptime with our services, and it's not easy to do. I just got this email last week. I'll share. Do I have time to share this? Yeah. An email from our East Coast regarding this particular technology from our VP of Operations. It says, I wanted to put together a note so everybody knows what Emily Manassi did and Bazad Amani, what they went through last night and this morning to ensure that Dr. Campbell would get through the day of his Catalyst cases successfully. Emily started her day, the prior day, around 4:30 a.m. to go to support Dr. Chung with this laser at Novant Hospital, Haymarket. She was supposed to get bailed out by an out-of-town technician coming in to assist, but his flight was canceled last minute and Emily needed to stay for the full day. She ended up getting down to Williamsburg for Dr. Campbell around 6:30 p.m., where she found that the laser was emitting low power. Her contact at the facility allowed her to stay in the building and troubleshoot the laser on her own. At 11 p.m., she determined that she could not fix the laser on her own. We were forced to either call Bazad, and Bazad's one of our technical service people that's headquartered in Baltimore. Call Bazad at 11 or cancel cases for the next morning. This physician happened to have, I think, 18 to 20 patients the next morning. Canceling cases with this laser is a bad day. So at 11 p.m., Emily called Bazad, and he was able to come down to assist Emily in servicing the laser. He arrived at the facility at 3 a.m. Emily couldn't leave because the doors would lock behind her. She was able to get a little rest by lying down on the Catalyst chair. That's what's used for patients. Through their expertise and help from J&J, J&J makes this laser, by the way, Johnson & Johnson, we have a partnership with them on this particular product. They were able to get the laser up and running at 6:45 a.m. The first patient was on the table at 7. Simply amazing work, guys. Many thanks, blah, blah, blah. So we provide technology, but we provide incredible people that care. And our mission is service excellence is really important to us. And these two individuals are not unlike anyone else in the organization. We're committed to serve. One more technology that I want to share with you is in the urology space. We do quite a bit in urology, and oops, I didn't do that right. Yeah, okay, that's it. As I said, we do a lot of work in the urology space with lasers and other technology. For men, prostate cancer is somewhat like breast cancer for women. It's the cancer that men think about, I guess. Up until recently, men's, if there was their PSA scores were going up, they would have biopsies done, what are called core biopsies, and they basically do needle biopsies throughout the prostate and send it off to pathology to see if there's cancer that's picked up. Sometimes it's not picked up because they're basically blindly sticking in the prostate, and hopefully they're getting the right area. A new technology has been developed to fuse an MRI image, which the radiologist says there's suspected cancerous tissue in this particular area, and that's where you should be biopsying. So they fuse that image onto the ultrasound, which the surgeon does live, and says, instead of just sticking blindly into the prostate, go in this area to look for the cancer. It's picking up more cancers that were previously gone undiagnosed. So an incredible technology, but again, that piece of equipment is $300,000. We're able to bring that in on a per case basis for the urologist, for patients that they suspect that might have cancer that's not being picked up. The PSAs are climbing, they've had some biopsies and they're not coming back positive. They will use this procedure to confirm whether there's cancer or not. That we just introduced, let's see, January of last year, so relatively new technology. ForTech comes full circle. We started on Ravenna Street. From Ravenna Street, we moved over to Glastonbury. Yes, I was running a business out of the house for about a year, and it got too large, and so we moved over to Twinsburg. And we were at Enterprise Boulevard. We moved over to Edison. Then 16 or almost 17 years ago, we moved over to Streetsboro, built our headquarters there. At that time, Hudson Crossings was a development that streets were cut. Electrical was in, plumbing was there, but we ended up in Streetsboro. Fast forward to today, we are moving. Go ahead, you can do it. We're moving to Hudson. We're thrilled about it. As David said, my family is from here. My wife and I have raised our 4 children, who are now 27, 25, 23, and 21. In Hudson, love the community, and really wanted to have our headquarters here. So a couple of slides that kind of go through the last 6 months. This was June of this year. Things started. This is our warehouse, dining areas, that's our offices. It's 2 floors of offices. It's 70,000 square feet. We're in 30,000 now in Streetsboro. So more capacity. We're bullish on the business and want to stay in Hudson. So we've kind of expanded more than we need today, but the same thing happened in Streetsboro. So hopefully we'll grow into it. That's what our building looks like, and as I said, as of Monday, our staff will be there, our Cleveland. This is our headquarters. We have about, I'm going to say just less than 100 people currently that will reside in Hudson. Okay, that's my ForTech medical story. David asked me to talk a little bit about not just the foundation, but I've been blessed throughout my career with the businesses that I've had, and fortunate to be able to do other things besides the business these days. I've got great people running it. I no longer run the businesses. There are 3 of them: ForTech Medical, ForTech Lithotripsy or Litho, and ForTech Fibers. I've got a great management team that runs the business. And it's enabled me a little bit more time to give back. One of those areas that I've given my time to is the Hudson Community Foundation. Phil Tobin, the founder of the foundation, is here. Bill Woldridge, I don't think is here this morning, but these 2 gentlemen decided to have a foundation in Hudson. I think this group, as much as anyone knows about the Hudson Community Foundation, I've been involved since 2002, and it's been neat for me to see. One of the gifts that the foundation provides residents is it gives them the ability to set up their own family foundation or fund, charitable fund within the foundation. From my perspective, or Nancy and I, our family has benefited from the ability to have a charitable fund at the foundation. We've taught our kids about philanthropy, about the need to give back. They've been blessed, and we felt it's important to educate them on giving back to organizations that are special to them. So we annually will meet and discuss things that are important to us, Nancy and I, and also to the kids. And as they've grown, they see the value more and more. They're getting it. Our daughter Allison has moved back to Cleveland, and she is now volunteering over at Ronald McDonald House in Cleveland, and that's become a special organization for her. the foundation is doing good things for the community. What I envision in 30 years from now, I'll be gone. Maybe. Maybe not. But let's say 50 years I'm gone. This foundation will still be here giving back to our community. As it grows, its ability to help Hudson community will continue to grow. So it's a neat organization that I've been involved with, and pleased to volunteer my time to help promote Hudson Community Foundation. One other group that I'd like to give a brief shout out to that I've gotten involved with over the years. Is anyone familiar with Breakthrough Schools? It's a charter school that's That's in Cleveland, Ohio. There are many charter schools in the state of Ohio. This one is Rockstar. This is an organization that was started by a guy named John Zitzner, a friend of mine that I got to know when he started this. He was an entrepreneur that said, hey, we need to do better for Cleveland public schools, the kids that are in public schools, and provide a better education. So they started, back in 1999, and since then they have grown tremendously. And they have 3,200 students that are now part of Breakthrough Schools. Their goal is to have 6,000 students educated by, I think, the year is 2020 that are part of the program. What's neat about them is that they really are doing great things from an educational standpoint for kids. These are the performance index for the large schools throughout the state of Ohio, how they rate, and there's Breakthrough Schools and how they measure up. The value add comparing to other middle schools, you can see that Breakthrough School is right up there with the best of schools, at least in Northeast Ohio. You can see those schools that are mentioned down below and where Breakthrough Schools stands. Interesting, this was an article in the Plain Dealer. There was a study out of Stanford and just how Breakthrough compares. And there's a quote. It says, Breakthrough Schools had to score so far ahead of the traditional district schools in math that it was as if they had taken classes for 148 extra days, or extra 80% of the school year, which they didn't, but that's how much they're getting out of their education at Breakthrough Schools. Anyway, it's working. I've seen these kids. It's neat for me to see these kids come from nothing, and the schools are open to anybody. But it's hard work. They really they put you through a grind. I got involved when it was 6th, 7th, and 8th. It was prepping for high school. It was amazing the number of kids that had been passed through the Cleveland public school system to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that couldn't read. So they had to tutor these kids, and that wasn't working. So they said, we've got to go all the way downstream. So it's now K through 8, and they're doing great things with kids. These are the scholarships that some of these kids are getting, and they now have kids that are now through college, and it's been neat to see them. Just thought I'd share that with you. It's one of the organizations that I've become involved with, and I think it's good, doing good things for kids' education in the Cleveland area. Okay, I think that's it. Hopefully I didn't take too much time, but questions for me on Fortech Medical, my involvement with the foundation, or Breakthrough Schools?
Drew, thank you so much for coming today. There is a huge amount of capital investment, all that equipment that you have. How do you go about financing that?
All of our financing is done through traditional bank financing, and we've done that. We try to pair equipment off in the first year, just through revenues, just because the technology does move, and we have gotten caught. We take that risk off the hospital's plate, so we absorb the risk, and we make it work because we share it amongst hospitals. For instance, out of this office, you will have a piece of equipment used at university hospitals at 8 a.m. and at 1 o'clock it's over at the Cleveland Clinic being used. So it's through efficient use of assets that we're able to do it, but traditionally have done it through bank financing. This business plan that I put together in 1988, I was really pumped up about it. I thought it was going to work, and I went to what at the time was National City Bank here in Hudson, and I gave them that business plan, and I couldn't get any financing back then. So my whole plan fell apart. I had $120,000 saved up, and through going through my files, I actually saw the note that I borrowed $20,000 from my dad in 1988 for 10% interest rate. Today, he would be loving that, but he was my bank in the beginning. Today, it's traditional financing.
Did you pay him back?
I'm still paying. No.
Drew,
Drew,
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
Sure.
I have a question. Just curious about your relationship with manufacturers, and is it a? Can it be? I'm sure at times that you're using the service to help the hospital, and the manufacturer's trying to sell this to the hospital. So how does that work?
That is a great question, because it's changed over the years. When we first started the business, it was cat and mouse. They wanted to sell any asset that they could to as many hospitals as they could, and I get that. That's what they're in the business for. We were saying, hey, where it makes sense, rent it, and if your usage goes to the point where you should buy it, buy it. And that's how we've always operated. It has changed over the years. Hospitals just don't have the capital dollars that they used to. Flat out, they just don't. Their capital budgets are extremely tight, and the value analysis committees are active in making sure that the investments made from a capital standpoint get paid back to the hospitals. And manufacturers have realized that. We have gone to a model where we're partnering more and more with manufacturers because they want to have their technology in there. And it's changed such that the model that I introduced is very common these days. And so if it exists and they can't fight it, they want to join it. They want to partner with us now to provide their technology into the hospital, such that if it does get to the point they want to buy, they're buying the technology that was introduced to them through Fortec. So it's been a good partnership. More and more, that's the way it's going, and it is helping us because we're not having to spend as much on capital. We don't.
Drew, what's the percentage of the business that's resident in the hospital that you actually have it physically located there, the big stuff, as compared with the bring-in stuff?
80% of it is brought in. Yep, 80% of it is mobilized in large hospitals like the Cleveland Clinic, in certain facilities where the demand is there. We do the analysis and say it's better to have that asset stay there, don't move, it's used too much, and also staff a person full-time. We have many of our, this one-source model has driven our business to have Fortec employees staffed at the hospital. You would think that they were hospital employees. In fact, one of our employees got voted Employee of the Month.
It seems to me that a key person in your delivery system is that technician.
Oh my gosh.
In today's job market, in today's world, what's your difficulty or your challenge in hiring enough people to continue to not only maintain your business, but to grow it?
The technician is critical to the episode of care, and they are the face of Fortec. You were exactly right. And they're the most important person, because it's not me, it's not the sales manager, it's that technician that's in surgery every day that's the most important component of our business. And we train all of our own people, and we hire from a variety of different areas, from EMTs that have had training to kids out of college that are interested in getting in the medical field, and it's a career path for us. They learn the business, they learn the procedures, they learn the technologies, and from there they can go and grow in the company, either in operations or in sales. So we've internalized our training programs and train all of our own people, much like we have done with our service. This business, as you saw from the example that I gave earlier, that we have to be up and running for that surgery that's at 7:30. There are patients on the table. And when I first started the business, all of my repairs were done through the manufacturer. The frustration came when the manufacturer said, we'll be there in 2 days. I said, this is not going to work. So we developed a service arm for Fortec, and now that service arm does all of our own equipment, and we service hospital lasers too. But anyway, all of our people are trained internally, and that is a critical part of our business.
Following up on that real briefly, Drew, the importance of your staff, your team members, what's the average tenure? I mean, how much turnover do you experience?
We're 30 years old, and now we have 2-3 people that are 25 years plus. Proud to say that the tenure is long at Fortec. I can't tell you the average age, but for instance, in the past 10 years, our average sales rep tenure was 2 years. It's now 6. it continues to go. And that only happens because we're growing, and we're growing profitably, and are able to provide good incomes, career pathing, and benefits for those that are part of Fortec. We have a 401k plan, profit sharing, and as I said, because we've been profitable and growing profitably, there's good opportunities for those. So we don't have a lot of turnover, thankfully, and it has helped us immensely. We're focused on the customer. I came from an American Hospital Supply that merged with Baxter Travel. If you've ever been through big corporate mergers, the moment that happens, the focus goes away from the customer and on to, understandably, yourself. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to shake out in this? And it's amazing how much time and energy is wasted not focused on the customer. We have obviously had many opportunities to sell this business over the years. We've chosen not to and have no intentions of doing so. We've made a large investment, and we think the future is bright. So what's neat to see is we're focused on the customer, patients, and our physicians and hospitals, and that helps. And I think people appreciate that, the employees do.
One last question.
Go ahead, Jim.
I don't have a mic. Here you go, Jim. Thanks, Drew, for coming this morning. It's very, very interesting. I wonder, how do you keep up with technology? I know that technology is a racehorse that's flying faster than any of us can see, but I see, especially in your business, that things are coming on the scene so quickly. How do you stay up with that and stay ahead so that you can turn over your equipment properly, blah, 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 you know?
Jim, we do it through a variety of different areas. Our technicians on the ground, in the ORs, are with physicians every day. Their eyes and ears as to what needs to have, what deficiencies are here, how can we service you better. That's one area. We go to all of the specialty meetings. We listen to the papers that are presented as to what's going on in other parts of the world. Oftentimes the technology is developed in Europe. Our FDA is rather rigorous, and sometimes things can get approved in Europe before they can get approved here. We do that, and we also have medical directors in different specialties that help us, again, thinking forward as to what technologies we need to be looking out for. So that's a constant effort on behalf of the company, and the new technologies that we test come from those different areas. And so manufacturers are out there. They're all out there saying we've got the latest, the greatest. I think our job as a company is to decipher which ones really are going to make a difference in the healthcare of patients that makes sense financially. It's no longer just that it's a neat technology. It has to do something better for the patients and the hospitals and fit in the equation of how do the hospitals get paid for it.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Before I start wrapping up the meeting, I just want to thank you for not getting technical. When you said you were going to share a video, I was all ready to cover my eyes because I don't do medical very well. I cover my eyes at some of the NCISs and the doctor shows. So I'd like to thank our greeters, Richard Nibiola, close enough, and Ralph Day, our audiovisual setup crew, Den Rich, Tom Page, Tom Tobin, James Field, and Ron Barnhouse. Alyssa Hitchcock, thank you very much. And our Rotobuck today is $12 to the winner. I don't know what the jackpot is. I don't know why they didn't put it on here. 124. And the jackpot's at 124. Oh. I guess before I do that, you need to put the number. I do? Yes, you do. What do you have first four? Last four? Last four.
DREW. 5175.
5175.
All right, $12.
Yeah, you can go to lunch. Where are we going?
Wherever you want. Sorry. Maybe a little one.
Tell Rich welcome.
Remember, you have the power to make someone's day. Thank you for coming, and stay warm.